Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Indie Film Cafe. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got some awesome guests for you guys today. We've got a returning guest who's been here, I don't know, what, four times so far? Is it your fourth or
Three, yeah, it's three, I think.
three?
Because we did the hillbilly,
Yeah, we did Redneck Zombies, and then we did
we
that with
did the
Paul.
white people problems movie,
White Wolves too, yeah.
right? And then we did martial law.
Martial Law, this would be the fourth time.
Yes,
Yes, so fourth time. Well, welcome back, Matthew. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Been finishing up following. That's about ready to head over to my sound guy, Andrew Stainer, for sound mixing.
Nice.
And as soon as that's done, then I jump on to getting the fine cut of Quattro, my science fiction horror film, and get that taken care of and get it out for review for my peeps. And then hopefully, if all goes well, I'll have following out March, April, and Quattro April, May.
Awesome. Busy.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
so we also have a new person here. Please introduce yourself, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Kryssi.
Hi, Kryssi. How are
Um,
you doing?
okay.
Okay. I don't know what that says about this movie that we're going to be reviewing, but all right. Um, some people get excited, some people do not, but we'll see. Now, so we got Matt and Krissy here, and we're going to be talking about, should I call it Out of Time? Should I call it Out of Time? I don't know, but it's the Mario Lopez Out of Time movie from 2002. So the fun 2002 action suspense thriller thingy-majiggy. Um, that will
That's
be
being generous.
yeah, we'll talk about it more. I have a lot to kind of say about it because I didn't just pick this movie out of a hat. This is something I've been kind of dying to review at some point. But I hadn't seen it in a while. So we'll talk about it soon after we listen to some mood music. And we are back. All right. So, Matt, this is your first time watching this movie. Did this give you any and this is the second Saved by the Bell actor, you've watched a movie with.
Yes.
Elizabeth
Yes.
Berkley from, Saved by the
I,
Bell was also in White Wolves too, and was it Mario Lopez is in this one. What was your first initial reaction?
my first initial reaction was it was very 90s.
Mm,
It just screamed the opening credits, the kind of music video feel to it, and like the typography and like certain one letter was colored red while the rest were white. And just the cuts and the music and all that. It just felt like a very 90s movie. I have to give them credit. They did try to give it a little bit of flair,
hmm
a little bit of style, a little bit of hipness. Unfortunately, every other aspect of it wasn't good enough to warrant such work. You could almost accuse them of using it to cover up the deficiencies, but I will save my comments for later.
Yep.
But yes, it's a very 90s movie. I mean, it screams 90s. It seemed to be missing the key, one of the, it had everything that the 90s movies had except for one thing, which was nudity.
It almost had nudity. It was this close. But it
Uh,
didn't. But it didn't. It just had
No,
back
it it
nudity.
it, it didn't. No.
No. All right. So, Chrissy, what was your first thought of it?
So I'm gonna agree with that. It was definitely, I like gave 90 vibes. Definitely something I would have sat, my grandma would have sat, me and my grandma would have sat and watched together. One, because she loved Mario Lopez with his dimples, and two, because that's just the type of movie my grandma would have sat and watched. So, um, I mean, like I said, I think I told you earlier, I had to sit and rewatch it. I ended up rewatching it, because I got halfway through, and then for some reason I cut it off for a minute. So I ended up just going back and rewatching the whole thing. Totally glad I did that though, because apparently I missed a lot of stuff when I wasn't really paying attention the first time. Um, but that's the bad thing with me. I'm my grandpa's granddaughter, so within like the first 15 minutes, if it doesn't keep my attention, I kind of just wander off into other things. But but kind of kept my attention for the most part, so it wasn't.
I think there's enough stuff going on in the movie
Mm-hmm.
that it wouldn't be necessarily boring. I mean, unless you're just not that into it. There now, Matt brought up a really good thing when he was talking to me yesterday about it, because I guess you watched it yesterday, right, Matt?
Right.
And you brought up the fact that and this was on, you watched it on Prime and I watched it on Tubi, then you checked it out on Tubi, and it still had the
Yeah.
same problem where half the movie was in Spanish. Like people are talking to each other in Spanish. I
Right.
don't know Spanish. Matt doesn't know Spanish, didn't seem.
I know very little and not enough to follow the time eating conversation when he goes visits his mom at her work and
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
through that whole routine. Spoilers, folks.
There's
The
gonna be
whole
lots.
routine of them pretending not to know each other, then she goes to leave and then comes back and they hug. And I'm like, well, that was a good way to eat up 5 minutes and 5 minutes of no subtitles because all they put is speaks foreign language, not even speaks Spanish,
Spanish, but
speaks foreign language on both versions. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. And yeah, they're talking in Spanish with, the closed captioning says it, and there's no burned in subtitles, which typically for 90s movies it would be burned in. They didn't even have that. So unless it was like, they did an aspect ratio crop where they made it bigger and then they accidentally cropped out the thing, which is, you know, whatever company released it on streaming, if that was the case, did a poor job. Kind of can't do that. Or maybe they just didn't care enough, they just wanted to make a buck. But yeah, Chris, you probably got lost because you couldn't understand half of it unless you know Spanish.
do you know
No,
Spanish, Chrissy?
no, I tried and failed very, very horribly.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's when I went and rewatched it today, because obviously I missed like that. Um, I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait, did I pick the right movie? I'm like, I know he said it was Mario Lopez, so I got that. I'm like, but what's going on right now?
Yeah.
You
Like
know?
when he's talking to his mom, that was an awkward scene because they're talking in Spanish to each other for a bit, and then she acts like she's gonna go get the person that
Mhm.
he needs or whatever, like his mom, and then she
Right.
comes back over and starts, and I was like, that was the dumbest scene I've ever seen in my life because like unless it made sense, like
Mhm.
but like in the in the Spanish and stuff, and people, Hispanic people are watching and go, "Oh yeah, yeah, no, totally get that," right? But then you watch it and you're like, um, why is this happening? Like,
I
Mhm.
mean,
why
I mean,
is
I mean,
it's
the movie's only 120 something minutes, so it just felt like padding. It just
was it?
felt like high test
I thought it was
padding.
in 90 minutes because it wasn't 120, I don't think.
It
'Cause
was
that
it
would
was
be two
it was
hours.
under 90 minutes. I think it was
Yeah.
128 minutes.
Well, no, no, no. You mean it's an hour and 28 minutes because 128 minutes would be over two
Oh
hours.
yeah, you're right. You're right. It's
By my
uh,
math.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
No, you're right. Um, God, how long was that thing?
yeah, it's
Now
only an hour and
I
28
gotta
minutes.
look it up. Now I
It's an
gotta
hour
look
and
it up.
28 minutes. I looked it up
Hour 28 minutes. Yeah.
while I was
So it's
watching
not
it.
even a full 90 minutes. And they ate up, that whole scene.
They
I
ate up
mean,
28 minutes.
yeah, it's
And just that one scene, it felt like at least. No, they ate up like 3 or 4 minutes in that, and it was weird. But
yeah.
I guess we'll go into the story in a little bit, but I do want to give a little bit of background for it, so, for people at home who have not seen it or have seen it, and whatnot. But it's directed by Lorena David. Lorena David, or David, I'm not sure exactly how you would. I mean, I would say David, but she's a Los Angeles bred filmmaker. She has made. I have 3 DVDs that of movies that she made, and I think those are all the movies she's directed. Um,
Yeah, I read her IMDb profile, and it's obviously she wrote it herself.
Well, I directed, or I got East Side, Out of Time, and Extreme Dating. I do need Bravo, which is a Carlos Gallardo movie, which is the guy that was in El Mariachi. He was the El Mariachi in El Mariachi. I really want to see that. Um, she also has produced a bunch of movies, and as you said before, she has produced what is it? She has produced
she,
what's that show thing that she's
well, she's
done?
actually not. She's produced like Strangers with Candy. She's actually edited episodes of Real Housewives of Orange County, Beverly Hills, and New York.
Nice.
And yeah, there's probably a reason why she's an editor now and no longer a director.
Well,
Uh,
even I didn't really like her editing in this movie much
oh,
because it was too fat. It was too MTV, like you said. It was too like that beginning with him playing soccer took way too long. I was like, I don't want to watch some people play soccer like this. Like, I don't know. Krissy, what did you think of the soccer playing in the beginning opening
Mm,
credits?
yeah, I mean, it might have been a bit much.
Yeah.
well, I mean, they got to get to
I
100
mean,
or an hour and 28 minutes, so you gotta
yeah,
you gotta
that's
have
true.
long credit sequences.
Mm, mhm.
The writers were Ned Kerwin, who he's also an editor, by the way. Who also wrote the movie Bandito, starring Carlos Gallardo. So apparently these all people all kind of know each other, and work with each
That
other.
that sounds so much like the indie film community. Uh,
Right.
Yeah.
the same people working on the same projects. You're the Scott Duncan, his co-writer, pretty much did only the same thing. So it's
Yeah.
definitely, it's definitely there's a crew there. There
Yep.
is there's a lot of the same actors and a lot of same things. Although, John Saxon and Richard Lynch, that's a bit of a get.
Well, we'll,
Those
we'll
are
get, we'll
some.
get to that in a second. I do want to go down the actors real quick. So, Mario Lopez is the main guy. That's the main reason I do this because I'm a huge Mario Lopez indie film guy. Like, I love all his indie films. So, my idea was to put every single one of these really terrible movies onto Indie Film Cafe. But this one is actually one of the better ones, to be honest. And this is the one I like a lot more. East Side is bad, but it's not nearly as bad as like there's some really bad ones that we did. But he's, obviously from Saved by the Bell and Pacific Blue. He's like what he's got like the show on Extra or something, like he interviews people and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the
Oh,
honest truth is, I don't know Mario Lopez from anything else but Saved by the Bell, and I hate Saved by the Bell.
I
It
love Saved
is.
by the Bell.
Oh, the show is about a psychopath.
Oh, I
Uh,
know. Uh,
yeah,
Zach Morris is trash, you know.
yeah, yeah. I love that series.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, and it's so true. And you know what? Mark Paul Gosselaar loves it too. He thinks it's funny because he actually hated doing a lot of the prep that he had to do to these poor girls, but he, you know, he that was his character, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean Mario Lopez, I mean he seems like a good guy, although now he's doing some refinancing commercial with his wife and you hit rock bottom if you're doing these things.
Or you just need a side hustle, man.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for doing commercials. Everybody does commercials. So that doesn't bother me. Carlos Mencia, as you said before, is in the movie, so that's
Yep. And
crazy.
George Lopez
Well,
for
George
like
Lopez has the smallest role in it, though. He's
I know
like,
it's like did he need to pay off his bookie
no, I
or
don't think.
something like
No, this was
that?
2001. They were not Carlos Mencia and George Lopez at that time. I don't think. I don't think they were big stars at that
I
time.
mean, it was released in 2002. And I honestly wonder if that thing was like made in the 90s and then finally they got enough guts
Maybe
to release it.
that's a good question.
Because it felt like a 90s movie, but it was released in 2002. And the cover makes it look like he's he's a cholo in some sort of gang. I mean, this movie just gives way too many mixed messages. And I was kind of expecting like the stuff he was transporting and the whole thing with the guy at the beginning that
Hmm.
they were creating some sort of zombie cyborg or something like that. I was just waiting for the movie to go completely into left field and just come up with something so 90s wacky. And I was disappointed.
Well,
I
all
was
right.
disappointed.
Um, so next there was let's see, out of there. Well, you said George Lopez. So, Ali Landry was the girl who played what's her name? Bella. Bella.
Bella, yeah.
I
Yeah.
liked her a lot. They
No,
were
she was
actually
on.
married later after this movie. They fell in love during the set of this movie. So, there's something. I don't think they're still together, if I'm correct. Um, no, she's married to somebody else, but they were annulled. Wait a minute. They were only married for a month. Not
Yeah.
even. Not even a month. April 24th to May 12th. So they were only married, and then they got annulled. What the heck?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. But then now she's married to a guy named Alejandro Mentaverde, and he is married to the girl that you said was on Courtney Lopez, who he's doing his commercials with. So also,
Right. Yeah. But
um, what?
no, go ahead.
Uh,
I'll save my comments for a minute.
okay. Um, so then there is well, what's her name? Doc Dr. Drake. Was that
Nancy
the
O'Dell. Yeah.
Was that the girl that the doctor that the woman doctor that was helping everything? I'm
Right.
thinking.
The one. Yeah. They must have because I see pictures of her and she's blonde, so they must have dyed her hair or put a bad wig on.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
she was brunette then. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, she looked good. I mean, I kind of like the sexy nerdy girl that she was supposed to be. But ugh, the women in this movie are just, I mean, poor Tava Smiley played Emma. They set her up to be the thing, and then, spoilers, folks, they kill her off.
There's gonna be
And
lots of. You don't have to keep saying spoilers. There's gonna be
okay,
spoilers in here. That's
yeah,
fine.
they kill her off, and then they introduce Bella, who basically they spend most of the movie yelling at each other and then they have sex and then she blows up the FBI guy's truck and then she disappears for the rest of the movie until
Until
the
the
very
end.
end
Yeah, to
to
the end.
to the half-assed coda that they did and then Tavish they really do a lot of build up with her and then just she's dead,
Yeah.
moving on.
We'll get to the more of the story itself. Chrissy, what did you think of the acting?
Um,
Did you like it?
sorry,
So
I
okay.
had a thought and like I when I thought about it earlier and then I went brain dead. Yeah, I mean for the most part, yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I mean, the acting. Well, I mean, most of the actors in this movie are professional actors. They're not
Right.
like amateurs who don't, who've never been anything or never going to be. You know what I mean? Like they're good, good actors. What like we said, there was Richard Lynch who was in East Side as well. I think he had a definitely a different part in that movie. And then I mean, I don't think he was the bad guy in that one. He was like the good guy or something in that one. And then there was John Saxon, who usually plays the good guy. So you expect him to be the good guy, but he's a bad guy. He's the doctor or whatever, who's supposedly dead, or the professor who's supposedly dead. And
Yeah.
then I didn't get that. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
so was that really his name, or was he somebody else pretending to be him?
He was pretending to be the dead doctor so that so he could post ads for couriers at the college because I don't know why exactly. I mean, there's so many different. No,
There,
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not even going to get started on it because I will go off on a tirade on the whole thing. We're not at story yet, so we'll just
yeah.
focus on acting.
We'll wait till that. We'll wait till that.
Yeah,
Because we're
yeah,
about to get into that, so don't worry.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I like I have an autograph. My friend went to a um convention or something, like a festival or something, and he got to meet John Saxon, and he got me an autograph of John Saxon. I thought it was a Nightmare on Elm Street shot of him. And I thought that's awesome. I personally, because he didn't ask, he just said, here you go, and it
Mm.
was like signed and everything. I was like, very cool, thank you. I really appreciate that. But I would have gotten an Enter the Dragon. Like I would, if he had an Enter the Dragon picture, I would have gotten that because, dude, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. So I love Nightmare on Elm Street too. So I was not complaining, and I didn't get to meet him sadly before he passed. So it's nice to actually have something, signed to me or whatever. I think it's signed to me. It's either signed to me or just signed John Saxon, you know. So
Well, as far on my view, though, I felt that all of the acting was over the top, and I mean, it was just chewing scenery. Mario Lopez, I know you love him. He did fine, but like Nancy O'Dell playing the scientist chick, she was just over the top bitchy.
I loved
Richard
her though. I had a fun time with her.
was over time, over the top, assholey. John Saxon, I couldn't tell if he was trying to be, I was just, I didn't couldn't quite tell if his accent was supposed to be Italian or was supposed to be New York or whatever. I mean, I just felt everybody was over the top except for poor Miss Emma Cross, Tava Smiley. Um, she was actually probably the most understated of all of them, and then what's his name, George Lopez. He's barely in it,
Yeah.
so
Well,
he
George
really did.
Lopez played the guy at the that they were trying to give the car to, right? Or
Right,
whatever, the
right. The
police
chop
car to.
shop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Carlos Mencia played I guess his
the
brother or
I think it was
his
his best friend because
best
he says,
friend.
"Tell your mother I said hi." So I'm pretty
Hmm.
Yeah.
sure that's not. I think he's just best friend. But we'll get into that. Well, we're about to go right into the story. So the story, and I guess anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, on things or something, or you got a different perspective from it. But like, we'll go from the beginning. So like, it's about a guy. Mario Lopez plays a soccer player who, for I guess some kind of like university in San Diego, and they don't say it though. So like the only reason I know that is because I read the intro the log line of it or whatever. I don't remember San Diego being ever talked about or
At one point,
discussed.
he did bring up San Diego.
Did he?
Real
Okay.
briefly. Yeah.
Okay. So he's in San Diego. He's at a college there. He's both kicked off the soccer team because he has a bad knee. And I was gonna say because he shot that that soccer shot and it was like way off, and I was like, is this just Mario Lopez actually playing soccer? And they just made it into the movie, and they were like, like the guy can't shoot it at all or whatever. Uh, so they said, sorry, you're cut from the team. So and his ex-girlfriend has come to his house to tell him that I guess the ex-girlfriend,
Yeah, it's
ex-lover,
his, not only is it his ex-girlfriend, it's also his professor
yeah.
as
Well, I
well.
mean, I don't know. Maybe she liked his dimples. I don't know, but
Well, I'm sure she liked when they had that one gratuitous scene with Mario Lopez's shirt off where he's at the window talking to Carlos Messina and he flexes. And it's like, take a look at this cheesecake,
I don't
baby.
know. That's what all the that's what probably sold the movie right there is girls buying the movie just to see and gay guys buying the movie just to see Mario Lopez flexing, or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
But so the ex-girlfriend comes over to tell him that he didn't he's not, basically not going to get his scholarship, unless he pays for it himself. So he needs to go to Mexico, back home to Tijuana, and get a job. So he goes back home and he does a save the cat moment. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with that phrase, but it's a screenwriting phrase where basically a screenwriter has to make you like the character somehow or another. And what you do is you have it where they'll do something like it's called save the cat because usually it's like a guy will get a cat out of a tree and save it and then bring it back and then you're like, oh, what a nice beautiful gesture, he's such a nice guy, and then that makes you already feel comfortable with him. Their save the cat moment I noticed is when he's walking around and a soccer ball goes flying, you know, and in Tijuana, and he takes out his own soccer ball and a better soccer ball and gives it to the kids playing soccer. And I was like, okay, I like, you're supposed to like this guy, right? So,
Right.
Yeah,
but
because up to that point, he'd been a whiny bitch.
mm,
So,
I mean, but he had every reason to be. I mean, he got a blown knee. It's not his fault. He's kicked off the team right now. So, like, he's already kicked when he's down, and he found out he lost his scholarship funds,
yeah,
and stuff.
I get that. I get that. But, if they needed to save the cat moment, which a soccer ball is pretty lame in my opinion.
I liked it. I thought
Uh,
it worked for me. Like, I don't
yeah,
know.
I think that, just him keeping a sense of humor or him just not seeming, I don't know, he just seemed so desperate and it was very obvious that his whole life was just soccer. And
Mhm.
they didn't really give him any other contributing factor to his existence. And
Until
I
he had
get,
to save his mom.
yeah,
Yes.
well, yeah, I mean, like all good sons. I mean,
Mm.
but he just, I mean, I didn't hate the guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
Mm.
he was evil or nothing. It's just, I only started really feeling for him because the one thing I will say that they did at least decent in the writing is they made him panic. And the way that he panicked when he finds his, girlfriend dead and he's trying to do the right thing and the cops with the corrupt FBI guys and all that. So, I felt for him, but not this is I didn't really care
Right.
what happened to him. And that's just because they don't give anybody really any kind of fleshing out. They're all paper thin.
Hmm.
Even Mario is a paper thin character.
Mhm.
The only thing I can say is, at least with Carlos Mencia, his personality added a lot more depth to it. Just his comedic feel sensibilities, his smarts. When he's smart enough to give him, show him give him the message and the shirts and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
I I liked him. I liked that character because he really he took what was a paper thin character and he gave it some sort of enough of a story that when he dies, I felt bad for him. I didn't feel really care if anybody else died, but I felt bad when he got killed. And that right there just tells you that you can save something if you just added enough energy. And I think Carlos Mencia is the only one that really added energy into it, other than the guy playing the FBI guy, who again, over the top, hammy, hacky.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, we'll
uh,
get into that. Yeah, and we'll get into Carlos Mencia's death in a little bit. But I didn't forget to mention that he, right before he went to Tijuana to see his mom, Carlos called him, I think it was name's Wancho or Honcho or something.
Something like
Um,
that.
yeah, and he says, "Hey, man," he basically convinces his, friend to go see his mom. Says, he has to convince his, because I think at that time he didn't want to do anything other than mope. So his friend had to get him out of that so he can go say hello to his mom and stuff. And then they get into the car, and then he weirdly, like, so he kind of gets out of the car while they're like, it looks like they were still mid traffic. Like,
yeah, yeah,
was
yeah. He
that
gets out of
weird?
the car. Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, I know people, that sometimes when the cities gets gridlocked, you just hop out. But usually, um, you know, again, it was probably, I don't know. I
I don't
mean,
know. It was
it
strange. I
was
never
it
seen that
was it was
before.
just like disconcerting. Like, oh well, thanks for giving me a ride. I'm gonna leave here while you're stuck in the middle of traffic. I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
and Carlos is like, okay, sure, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. See you, buddy.
Yeah, buddy, say hello to your mom for me. And then he goes off, and then he sees his mom. We talked about that whole weird exchange at first, and then they do talk for another, I swear, 5-10 minutes, to each other in Spanish. Where you're
Yeah,
just
at
like
at her house, and then I
at her
think
house.
Carlos Medina's there
Mhm.
too,
It just kind of
and
goes on for a little bit, and then he goes to look for a job. And the one place we see him go to, like it didn't look like he looked for much other than finding this one place. Like we don't see him going to one job and getting out and going to another place and getting out. We see him going to this one place.
hold on a second there. Okay, so we're kind of getting a little bit ahead, but I mentioned to you yesterday, this whole movie is nothing but a string of coincidences that all happen to hit right at the moment. It's the whole movie. The movie should have been called Deus Ex Machina,
Right.
because every single thing that happens is a total and utter coincidence. And so what it is that John Saxon goes in and he's looking for people to work at the fake lab because it's fake. So he goes in there. So why even go with that pretense if he's just looking for couriers?
Right.
Uh, yeah, because if the lab is fake, then what does it matter?
Mhm.
So why do the pretense? And then so she, the poor Emma, gets meets up with him, doesn't bother to do any kind of vetting on the guy, but okay, she just assume he's just John Saxon. I mean, you're gonna do what John Saxon says. I mean, I would have. But anyways, so she gives him that. So she gives it to Mario, who, after having a time with his mother and speaking in Spanish with speaking foreign language as our only hint on what they're doing, then he goes to apply for the job at the fake lab, where he gets turned down by the fake lab and then leaves, and then John Saxon comes out and says, I may have a job for you. It's like, why go through all of this charade? Why not just say, looking for messengers or looking for couriers or looking for something? Why go through the whole elaborate ruse? And then the part that I love about that whole bit is the fact that when we start, they're talking and the camera is going up the wall, across the wall, down the wall, back across
Oh
the
yeah,
wall,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and it
That
pulls out. I mean, what the? Again, this just felt like they were trying to find any way, one, to keep it interesting, which I respect. I totally respect that. But again, it just felt like you're just eating screen time with that whole ridiculous line of the flyer and then the fake job and the fake lab and turning them down and then him getting them chasing after them and explaining what it is when it's not really anything big. They could have just cut all that out and just said, hey, look, I'm looking for people that could get in and out of Mexico to deliver the stuff. And I think it would have been better if they just made it, made them think it was drugs, or that's why I was expecting the zombie cyborg thing or something,
right.
that they were shipping bionic parts to a
Yeah.
Tijuana lab, to lab in TJ.
Yeah,
But
I can see why at the end of the movie it would be disappointing to you that like all of it was just a heart,
yeah,
which is just like that's nothing to like that is the only thing that I think because they stole the heart, right? It's
right.
a
They
stolen heart.
killed the business dude and cut out his heart. But
Yeah.
again, why do the whole other runs shipping vitamin B? I guess it was to see if how well he could do it without getting him
Well,
caught.
yeah, why didn't he just do the heart the first time?
Right, right. Why did they just do it after they cut the guy? And the thing is that the woman, the scientist, cuts the guy's heart out. Why the hell does she need to have a courier when she cuts it out? She could just drop it in a cooler and float over there. I mean, I'm
Well,
sure,
I
I'm sure
think
her private jet didn't hit customs inspection.
yeah, she had her own like was it I thought it was a helicopter, right?
Yeah, it was a helicopter.
Right,
Yeah, so it was a helicopter and whatnot. Wow, did you go onto the beach?
I
Wow.
guess so.
Okay.
I don't know. I touched something. I left it alone.
It's cool.
I went
Um
to do something and I touched a button.
yeah,
Oh,
you're now in San Francisco. Awesome.
okay.
There
there
you
you
go.
go.
So yeah, so it's all just like crazy and stuff that all of this stuff just like happens. I get it. And the whole movie really is sort of like when you think about it, when you think like yeah, she could have just gotten the she could have just gotten the thing, gotten into her helicopter or something, taken it over to the guy or whatever, or somehow or another brought the guy over to America, and stuff. I don't
They
know.
couldn't bring him because he was most wanted. But Hart is a lot easier to put in a helicopter, and bring it across the border. And it's come on, it's Mexico. I mean, it's they even say the line, and my apologies for repeating it because it's a horrible line. But they're either corrupt or stupid or both.
The cops. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
talking
the
about the cops
cops.
in
So
Tijuana.
they, by that logic, they could have just, and they were rich. It's not like they were like doing this on the DL. Well, they were, but I mean, it's not like they were poor. They had money for helicopters, and she wanted to go buy a Coach bag, and he's this big international, what, terrorist, drug lord.
Well, I mean, maybe a bit of it is because they saw the what is it the corrupt FBI guys. I don't know who they were necessarily
I
because
don't
I
even know what they were there for, because they're one moment trying to kill him and the next moment trying to arrest him. And what did they do? Why were they even involved? And why did they want Franco dead? what was their end game with? I mean, obviously they wanted him dead, but why did they want him dead? They never ever quite explain what
So, and then
they're going for.
the best part is all they had to do was just arrest him and not let him,
Right.
like let him give the heart. If he didn't have the heart, Franco wouldn't live. The problem with that is that unfortunately Mario Lopez's character's mother was kidnapped by John Sachs. I don't even know when that happened. Like,
Well, it's just like Bella. Just she blows up the FBI guys in the car, which they survived, and then suddenly she disappears for the rest of the
no, I
movie.
mean, because the guy takes her away. The guy that she stole his gun from and could have just shot that guy, you know. She could have shot him in the knee, she could have shot him in the leg, whatever, but so uh, Bella was such a weird character. Like it was
Bella, it was like my. There's part of me that wonders that Tavis Smiley was supposed to have a bigger role, and for some reason she couldn't finish it, or she thought it was too stupid, or she was too expensive, or something, and they just said, "Okay, F it, we're gonna just add in this new character as a love interest because we can't use Tava." For whatever reason. I mean, it's happened.
it does, but it's so funny to me to think that Mario Lopez goes, I'm not going to do this movie unless I get to kiss two different girls, you know.
Maybe that may be in the whole reason behind it. I don't know. But his girlfriend is dead, and it doesn't. It takes him what, a day and a half to bang
Well,
his.
no, it's ex-girlfriend.
Well, but still, I
I mean, I
mean,
don't think he was really in love with her or anything. He was just very, you know,
well, he was broken up when she was done. I mean, if my ex-wife died, I would still feel tore up about it. I wouldn't be jumping into bed with the next babe that came along. I would have
it,
a significant mourning period, at least a few months, not a few hours.
Kryssi, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that he did go a little bit too quickly into the relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you like
I
that
mean,
when you
like
were
he's
watching it?
saying, I mean, like he's like he was just saying, like the girl just died, right?
Right?
So there was no he's seen her like dead, and then obviously he's being chased. So he's like, okay, bye. But it's just like literally, okay, bye. And then he's off with, Bella, you
Bella.
know. So there was no oh, my girlfriend's dead.
I
Or whatever. You know what I mean?
It's so funny she has like a key that can unlock any handcuffs. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Coincidence. All just it's
oh yeah,
just
you're right.
it's just another coincidence. Oh, how do we unwrite ourselves in this box? Oh, the girl has a key. Boom. Deus ex machina.
and then she like unhooks her or has him unhook herself, and then she's like, "Oh, here you go. Here's the key. It should work for yours too." And I'm just like, "Oh God, like really?"
That's probably the only most realistic thing in the whole movie is most of the handcuffs are the same, and unless they're like trick handcuffs.
Yeah,
But yeah, the fact that um yeah, yeah, we're arrested. Oh, well, I just happen to have the key. I
yeah.
mean,
There's a
could
lot of
we,
coincidences.
I saw Mario Lopez. I mean, he probably, it would have been kind of funny if he just like done a, you
Like a
know,
Hulk. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. Especially since I guess he was kind of buff in the movie. Like he was shirtless
Oh
half the
no, I
time.
mean that shot of him in the window, that is like pure eye candy for anybody who's into Mario Lopez and his abs. It's a great beefcake shot.
By the
But
way, he did all his own stunts.
okay.
Well, then there was one really good stunt, and I really wonder if he did it because there's that scene where he's using the things to go down like almost like a what's that called, like a zip line, and he's
Oh
kind of going
yeah,
down, and
with the
then
handcuffs where he takes the one
yeah.
handcuffs and yeah. First of all, it was still attached to his wrist, so that thing would have been digging into his wrist so bad. He probably would have been bleeding all over the place. Um, but I mean, great that he did his own stuff. Hey, Mario Lopez,
Well,
you are the D-list Tom Cruise.
well,
Uh,
he also, and when he landed on the truck, he landed on his knee, his bum knee.
and he's fine.
And no, and he got to get right back up, and I was like,
And not only that, how coincidental did the truck happen to be there? I mean, come
well,
on,
he knew that
people.
it was coming, so he ran for it and stuff and jumped on. He was
Yeah,
lucky,
isn't
a lot of luck.
isn't that how that always happens? That whenever you need to get off the top of a building, there will be a handy truck driving under a bridge for
Mm.
enable you to land on it with your bum knee and still be fine with it.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, give me an
Well,
effing
he
break.
was putting ice on his knee later, later,
Well,
much
that's true.
later, you
That
know.
also reminds me, thank you for bringing that up because the product placement in this movie is insane. The Sprite can, the McDonald's, there's a couple others.
Oh, there was the ice cream was
Yeah, the ice cream. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
product placement is
Oh,
just like,
oh, the Sprite was so obvious. He's like, yeah, it
yes,
was almost like he's in a
yeah,
commercial.
right,
Chrissy, did you think of that? Like when you saw it, or were you thinking, oh my God, this is like a Sprite commercial? Because
Yeah.
it's literally so close up that you can see the Sprite while he's just like gulping it down. And I just wanted it to have like a line go, Sprite, it tastes good, or something
yes.
like that.
When you're on the run from John Saxon,
Sprite.
Sprite refreshes you.
Yeah. It was so funny. So there's a lot of product placement in this movie, and I'm guaranteeing you that's how they got the funding for this film. It's a lot of product placement and stuff like that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I got a feeling that if that was the case, whoever was the guy's brilliant idea to latch onto this movie probably got fired. The movie tanked.
uh,
Uh,
Out of time. Wait a minute. What movie is this? Why is Sprite? Why is our product part of this?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
nobody's
Out
gonna
of time.
drink Sprite
Mario
because of it.
Lopez. What the? Wait a minute. Uh, yeah.
Hmm. I don't know, but the uh there's some crazy
Oh,
stuff that happens
you
at the end.
remember there was the Out of Time movie with Denzel Washington that came out the year later. Maybe that's what they thought. Oh, it's Out of Time. No, no, Outta, Outta time.
Maybe they knew that other one was coming, so they're like, let's make sure it says out of time to
Right.
not make it confused and whatnot.
I don't.
Um, or maybe Denzel Washington originally wanted to call it out of time, and they're like, damn it, there's another 2002 movie out called Out of Time. I don't know. Um,
Well, it's not like anybody saw either movie, to be honest. But
I don't think I watched the Denzel Washington one, nor did I. I don't know. I At that time in early 2000s, I was more watching these movies. I was watching these direct to video Lionsgate style
yeah,
movies that nobody had ever heard of because I would rent them at the video store and I'd be like, Mario Lopez is in an independent film? That sounds awesome. And I would watch it. I probably rented this movie. I just don't remember. I know I own it because now I'm owning every Mario Lopez, independent film.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for me, that's how I feel like about Nemesis, by Albert Pune.
Do you have
You know,
Nemesis 5?
well, we're not going to go there. But I'd love see for me going to the video store now in 2002. I had just come back from Japan,
Mm,
so I had been really into Asian cinema at that point. And so I ne and I never would have picked up a Mario Lopez movie. There were far too many other movies I would have
rather,
gotten
man.
into. Yeah, but I'm with you on that. You know, I loved going to the video store and just picking up some of these weird small budget indie films because sometimes you would just get a treat that you never expected, like Nemesis, or Cyborg 2. You know, you just pick these things up and you're like, hey, this ain't bad.
Wait, isn't that what the girl? Wasn't that wait?
Angelina Jolie,
That's okay. That's who I wanted
one
to
of
say
her
it was,
first,
but
if not her first movie. She's like, I think she was 17 or 17 or 18 when she did it. I love Cyborg too. I love it more than Cyborg. And, you know,
I have something to discuss with you later after the thing.
okay.
But Chrissy, did you used to go to the video store and get these kind of like more smaller movies, or were you always into the bigger stuff if you went to the store?
I personally didn't do it. My grandma was the one that would do it.
Yeah, so she would
Uh,
have picked this up, you
oh
said.
yeah. Oh, the stuff we used to watch. Oh my God.
Oh, your grandma sounds awesome.
The stuff will, and I'd watch it with her just because it's my grandma. But yeah, she definitely would have, like I said before, she definitely would have picked this up. One, because it was Mario Lopez, and she was weak for them dimples. She loved his dimples.
Well,
So
were you a fan of Mario, or like
I
did you
mean,
like Saved by the Bell?
I did Saved by the Bell too, which I
Okay.
mean, Grandma would sit and watch with me because, like, like I said. Um, so yeah, I mean, I was big, in Saved by the Bell when I was younger as well, and but yeah, she would have grabbed this up and she would have sat and watched it.
Oh,
Um,
well, that sounds sweet. I Yeah, like I said, I grew up when I went to the video store, I grew up watching like Kickboxer 2 and
Oh, yeah.
those kind of
Best
things
of the
because
best.
best of the best, no retreat, no surrender, all of that stuff, and a few of them have been on independent indie film cafe because a lot of them are independent films. Like, you don't even think about how, some of these are. Some of them are not. I wanted to do I Come in Peace, but I found out that is not an independent film. That was like produced
what
by like
is
Universal.
now one of my favorites from little um wasn't I could be wrong, don't quote me. Wasn't Princess Bride, wasn't that an indie film?
No, no,
It
that was a
wasn't.
big
I thought
Oh,
Hollywood
somebody
film.
told me it was. I thought someone had told me it started
Mm.
that way. Or
No,
now it maybe that's what the original, but and
Mhm.
compared to big budget films at the time, it was what we would call an indie today.
yeah, it was
But
a
the minute
smaller
that
budget,
you
but
had,
Right.
Rob Reiner, see, I think what the reason why people think is because of the fact that Carrie Elwes
Mhm.
and
Robin
Robin
Wright.
Wright
Right.
were just starting out, so
Right.
and the bigger actors were Mandy Patinkin, who's mostly Broadway, Andre the Giant, of course, wrestling.
Billy
Uh,
Crystal,
Billy Crystal and Carol Kane were probably the most established actors
Right.
at the time, except for Peter Falk, because he'd been
Right.
Columbo for everybody. But yeah, I mean, there's always been some sort of there's an argument, and I'm not going to go too far into it, but there's an
Mhm.
argument about what was considered indie, and that I mean, Touchstone was considered in Disney's independent film arm, so that's why they made like Down and Out in Beverly Hills, and they made some of these, um, you know, um, cocktail stuff that eventually started becoming so Touchstone became too big, and then like Miramax,
Mhm.
uh, then Miramax brought on Dimension because Miramax was getting too prestigious, so then they brought in Dimension.
Yeah,
Um,
to do all
so
the like horror films and stuff.
right,
Yeah.
so they had indie spirits,
Mhm.
but they eventually got backed by the bigger guys.
Right.
So So, and sometimes it was a case of it was made as an indie film, but then got picked up by
Mhm.
a big company because Rob Reiner had success with This Is Spinal Tap.
Right.
And
This is Spinal Tap is more like an indie film, because I
right,
don't think
right.
I think that was made on a very low budget.
It
Um,
was. And again, if your definition of an indie film is the budget, then a lot of these movies that have become cult classics would be indie. But really, I think the true indie, and I mean what we today would consider indie, are like those made for video, direct to video
yeah, like
film,
this.
right?
Um,
Because they never got any kind of major distribution, and that and they often try to do something different, which again, I give credit to this movie. It tried to be visually different
Mhm.
than other movies from that time period. It just unfortunately, and I think I choose to believe that she did it because she wanted the director and the editor. They did it because they wanted to make the movie look interesting. My favorite director, Suzuki Seijun, said that he would make his movies the way he did to keep the audience from getting bored.
right.
And I think that's what their goal was. But too often times, some indie filmmakers will use cool stuff to
Mhm.
gloss over its paper thin characters, ridiculous coincidental plots.
Yeah.
I don't think they did it for this one. I think it was they honestly were trying to make it better,
I
make
don't
it a
know.
little
I don't
different.
know. And there, like you said before, there's that shot where it just goes like into the building and just around the building,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
it just like distracted me from everything. I was like, well, I have ADHD, so like I can't, I'm diagnosed with that. I just don't take medication because, I'm whatever. But I don't like, when it goes like this and like that, I'm watching and I'm like, it's like ping pong. Like, what is
Right.
going on
yeah,
here?
again, it did make sense, and I mean, there is a point where you can try to be too cool,
Yeah.
Mhm.
too cool for school, and I think that's the point where they got to being just, it was a dialogue scene. So instead of just doing the traditional one shot, two shot, one shot, two shot, one shot, two shot, they try to take what would be normally just a boring as hell scene and jazz it up a little bit in a weird way. But again, that's what I think their intention was. It was a way to just make something a little bit more interesting than what everybody else would have done.
Mm. Well, I don't know if there's really too much more. I mean, there was some crazy shit with them jumping on a helicopter and then getting the thing to like destroy the guy's heart and stuff and things like that. But there's really, I mean, it's your standard wannabe Hitchcockian Latino thriller, like it's not, it wasn't too. There was like you said coincidences and things and setups and whatnot, and just kind of after a while you're just like, oh, they're just prolonging the movie,
Mhm.
and whatnot.
Huh.
So we can't be prolonging the ending of this episode. So is there anything else that you guys wanted to make sure we mentioned? Is there any plot points or any things that you guys that we didn't tackle or touch?
I mean, the ending just yeah, okay. And the coda of getting Bella at the end, just yeah, yeah. I don't think there's any much else to really talk about other than, what I've already said.
Well, is it just me, or did anyone else get mad when the mom was still alive at the end? Because like that sounds terrible. Like I shouldn't wish death on people or whatever. But like she was dead. He had this really sadness. He did all the stuff there, and then it's like, oh, she's alive. Great. Like okay. That
Yeah,
happened. And I was like
well,
thinking if she were dead, it would have been a great dramatic thing for him. Like he had just done all this stuff to try to save her. It didn't work. And yet, right? She still died.
yeah, that. I get what you're saying, and I love the nihilistic endings of movies from that time period. Um, but I don't think the writers have that level of depth. I think they just wanted it to just everybody gets what they deserve, and Mario gets the girl and his mommy and kills Franco, and the bad guy dies, the good guys win, even though poor Emma's still dead, and
Yeah.
she's not even mentioned anywhere. I mean, I would have been happy. It would have been so cliche, but I would have been happy as he had the pacemaker control. This is for Emma. Beep.
Yeah. Well, no, because he wasn't thinking about Emma then. He was thinking he's moved on, remember?
Yeah,
So
he was on the bell hour, and he's like,
he
"Yeah,
forgot Emma who.
Emma who?"
That's so terrible. All right. So we are going to go into our stinkometer section. This is the part of the episode where we rank the movie from 1 to 10, 1 being very, very good and 10 being stinky for the stinkometer. So 10 being very, very bad. Like this is, this usually the reason those are bad are because they have a lot of problems. Either you can't hear them, you can't see them, it's not well done. The acting is just so bad. And then you can also do a point 0.5, like if you can't decide whether if it's a 5 or a 6, you do 5.5, something like that. So I'm gonna let Matt go first because this is your fourth time on the show, so I think you got a handle on what you think what you think this would be.
You're gonna be surprised, but I'm going to give it a 7.
What would I have been? Did you think I was going to go higher or lower on the stinkometer for
I
you?
thought you'd figure I'd go higher on it because of all the problems I listed. And the reason why I'm giving it a 7 is because it tried to be interesting. And there are a lot of sins I can't forgive. Bad sound, bad, and the writing is indeed terrible. The characters are indeed paper thin, but they tried to make something, not always successful, but they tried. And they had a couple of people that, yeah, they were over the top. I loved the scientist, the doctor chick. I loved her. She was just the right amount of sassy all the way through it.
Mm,
But I just like how they tried to make it a little bit more interesting. But if I really was going to be hardcore on it, I would have given it a 9, but I give them 2 extra points for just trying to make it a little bit more stylish and a little bit more interesting. And they did have, uh, Carlos Mencina did, kind of elevated the film, and the action sequences were decent.
mm.
Very 90s, early 2000 action, but still, they tried. And so I will. My friend uh, Tom Toohey always says I need to give a little bit more grace, so I'm giving some grace to
Okay.
add a time, giving it a 7.
All right. Christy, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
It don't matter.
Yeah, you go. You go then.
I like it don't matter. Um, I don't know. I would probably, I think, I don't know, probably give it about like you did, like a 6 or 7. I think just because, like you said, it did try and be interesting because I literally had to stand there and watch it because I couldn't move because I had puppies on my feet. Um, anyway, so I had to stand there and watch the whole thing, and but yeah, so I mean, it was interesting and it kept my attention. Like I said, like within the first 15 minutes, like if you can't keep my attention, I wander off somewhere else. Um, so yeah, I mean, it
I
was,
I was so 6 or 7. Which one?
I don't know, we'll go 6.5.
6.5. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. I was gonna go with six. So it's kind of funny. I did six, you did 6.5, and he did seven. So,
Right.
you
So
know,
it's definitely in that range.
it's in that
Yeah.
range. I agree completely, 100% on what you guys are saying. The only reason I'm giving an extra one is because once again, this is a film that like as like when this first came out, I would have been let's see. I would have been 19, 20, 20. I was 20. So, I'm 44 now. So I would have been 20 years old when this came out, and I would have been like, this would have been up my alley of something to watch. Like I would have been like, and I wouldn't have looked at all the flaws in it. I would have just been
Mhm.
like watching it going, "Oh my God, it's got Mario Lopez, it's got action."
Right.
I wouldn't have known any of the other actors because I didn't start to really like know who the indie people are until like 2010, and stuff. But like, seeing Richard Lynch and seeing John Saxon, seeing, Carlos and George in it and everything. I just I would have loved it as it is. Like I would have thought, oh man, this is really cool. And I still would be very confused on the Spanish language and stuff, but
Mm.
like that's not, it's just that I failed Spanish twice, I think. So like I can't like I that was not a language I was ever going to learn, you know. Uh which is funny because in like if you live in California, like Spanish should be a second language to you because there's a
Yeah.
lot of that.
Um, I grew up in California. I didn't take it in high school. I worked at this little restaurant, and the majority of people in California are Hispanic, and a lot of them didn't speak English. And we had a couple kitchen guys, and he said, well, he had it translated to me. Kryssi, I will teach you Spanish if you teach me English. And I said, okay. Yeah, about that.
It didn't work.
No. No,
Oh God, it didn't go bad, did it?
it just didn't work.
Okay, good. I don't know. It was a fun movie for me. It's a movie. This is my second time watching it that I know of. Like I said, this is something I probably in 2002 I could have probably picked off the video store shelf and ended
Mhm.
up taking home, but I don't remember, you know. And that might not be a good sign because that might be like that it's unmemorable, you know. But
Right.
nowadays I will remember it and stuff because I own it and I didn't kind of sad because I have it at my studio, not at my house, the DVD. And the DVD actually has commentary. So it would have been cool to listen to the commentary of the movie,
Oh
like,
my goodness. And maybe they would have subtitled the foreign language speaking foreign language bits.
maybe they would have told me what they were saying. I don't know.
Yeah, that would have
Um,
been nice. I mean, not that it was really necessary, but that you pointed out that whole weird exchange between him and his mom that ate up, a good 5 minutes of screen time. Um, what was that all about? What was the joke that we're missing there? Because there's obviously this was a routine that they did. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah.
but
I mean, and yeah, it was very strange. I think yeah, I don't know what that was all about, but it all in all, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good. Enough where I would definitely recommend it to people if anybody ever said what and it's probably one of my favorite of the Mario Lopez like starring movies, and stuff or co-starring even. Like this is way better than there was a movie he did with Corey Haim that we did called Fever something, whatever. And Fever Lake, and I thought it was gonna be like a werewolf movie or something, but it turned out to be like a horror movie, like with a killer person, kind of thing. And it was, or was it a werewolf? I don't know. It was not. It was really weird and strange. But Mario Lopez is much better this movie. It looked like he was like a producer of it too, so I guarantee he had a lot more say and stuff, and making sure that this was a vehicle for him to help get his, you know, action, stardom going and everything. Hollywood, I guess, didn't buy it. You know, he never became like Tom Cruise, and then he
Well,
got,
and I felt bad for him because, Park Montglacier, was over on NYPD Blue,
well,
getting
he was in
accolades.
Pacific Blue, which was also like a cop show, I believe. So like
Yeah,
it
but
was
you're
a
you're
LA cop show.
comparing it's like comparing Pulp Fiction to Plump Fiction, just not the same thing.
Yeah, I get
I mean,
that.
nobody's going to ever sit there and say Baywatch and Homicide: Life on the Street in the same sentence, other than what I just did,
Right.
because that's I mean, Pacific Blue probably better would have been done better with Acapulco Heat than than comparing it to NYPD Blue. So I mean,
But anyway, yeah. I mean, I
now.
totally get it.
Now
Um,
you're making me think that maybe it was a cynical ploy to play off the fact that it's like Slater and Zach Morris fighting it out. Oh, after they finished high school, they became professional actors. One went on to be a prestigious actor, the other one trying to copy it.
well, I mean, honestly, like Mario Lopez has like a real, I think a real like he does like interviews and he does stuff for like extra where he talks about
Well,
gossip and
I
other
mean, he
stuff. So,
definitely has a second career.
yeah.
He keeps getting pulled back into friggin' Saved by the Bell
Yeah,
spinoffs and knockoffs.
he's in that spinoff which was terrible. That
Yeah,
that like
so
sequel or whatever. The reboot, which I was not a fan of because it I'm not I'm not saying this in a like whatever, but it was what you would call woke, for sure. Like it was definitely it did not feel like Saved by the Bell. It felt like, okay, we're gonna do this with because we have a message to like, whatever
Mhm.
that we want to just jump down everybody's throats. And I did not like that. Like I was like, this isn't Saved by the Bell. This is not my Saved by the Bell. So,
Mhm.
no, no, it
um,
was not.
and then it was weird to see Zach because they really tried to make him look like Zach, but he hasn't looked like Zach in ages, if you ever noticed, because
No,
he's
no,
not
no. He's
blonde.
too old.
Yeah. And so they made his like face look all different and stuff. It almost looked like he had a face job and stuff. It was just terrible. It
Yeah.
was awful. But Slater still looks like Slater. Like he has not aged. I swear
Mhm.
to God, he could play a vampire and people would believe it, believe him as one. Kind of like Tom Cruise. It took like Tom Cruise like a long time before all of a sudden Tom Cruise started to look old, you know?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw him in the last Mission Impossible movie, I was just like, "Whoa, he's finally showing his
Yeah.
age."
No, I saw the trailers for him like, oof. It's like his face is getting fat finally. And I'm like, it's not a bad thing, like everybody ages, but it's like when you've known somebody that hasn't aged and you're like, oh man, that guy hasn't aged in ages. Now he's finally doing it. You're like, oh God, okay. So this is what it's like when you're done with all the, plastic surgery and other
Yeah.
things that that you have to do. So, but anyway, first of all, Krissy, thank you so much for being on the show and everything.
Yeah.
Your first time on it. Did you have a fun time?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
Sorry, I hope we didn't talk like me. It's funny. Matt and I can just jibber jabber and get into something.
Oh
So
no, it's fine because I mean, like, it was the first time, so you guys obviously have done it before, so like I could just pitch in here and there. It's fine. Like, it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, I was kind of worried. I was trying not to overdo it because I'm very opinionated about films. I want everybody, and it really it's not because I hate movies. I absolutely adore films.
mm,
It's just that I want everybody to do better, including myself. And
Right.
when I see something, I see what I want to do, and so I do get a bit on a tirade, but I tried my best, but he keeps sending me these movies. But I will say this: Martial Law is still the better movie.
Martial law is probably your favorite so far of all the
It
ones
is
I've
my
showed
favorite
you.
so
I've shown
far.
you so far, and that was the funniest thing. We just did that in a review a little while ago, and we stopped talking about the movie after a while and started talking about other stuff. And I'm like thinking back, and I'm like, oh shit, we should have like gone back to what like this is what happens when me and him are alone. We actually in this whole movie and this whole thing review, since we had a third person here, I think that helped us kind of get back and make sure we talked about that, talked
Yeah,
about
well, that's the problem when you have two passionate filmmakers like you and me, and we're screenwriters as well. So we just see it all, and it's always nice to have someone like Krissy who just loves movies for the sake of movies. And
yeah.
the fact that this is the kind of movie she would have watched with her grandmother. That is so sweet,
Yeah.
and you
Not like
know.
us. God, I would have watched Masterpiece Theater with my grandma. That would have been
I'm
the
telling
thing.
you, my grandma watched some stuff, you guys. Like, I'm not even, oh my goodness. Um, I don't even know if you guys are gonna know what I'm talking about, but it was like back in like, oh God, how old was I? I don't know. We'll say late 90s. I think it was before her stroke. So we're gonna say late 90s.
It didn't cause it, did it?
No, no, no. And it was something to do with rats. And like so obviously it was very B-rated. And they did experiments on these rats. And I had pet rats at the time, so grandma thought it was funny. And they would do, and so these rats would be like the size of like, I don't know, you said like a pig or something, right? And the
Right.
rats would like go and like, eat people. And this is the stuff my grandma would watch. So
Was,
like I
was
said, my
was it
grandma would
Killer
watch some
Rats?
stuff. Huh?
Yeah. Was it just called Rats?
I think
Or
maybe. It
yeah,
was so long ago. I don't know.
There
yeah.
were back then there were these indie horror movies
Oh my
that
goodness.
were
They were so bad.
sort of made or with the same companies and
Mhm.
stuff. And they did a movie called Rats,
It
and
might have been.
there's another one I think called Killer Rats, so I'm not sure if
I
that
don't
was a
know.
different
There,
movie.
there was Killer Rats and there was The Rats, which was around that time, 2000 time period. The Killer Rats came out 2003. Um, and
Yeah.
the one she's describing where the rats are genetically engineered, that would be the rats,
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so it's The Rats, which
right?
Yeah.
I always remember it just called Rats,
Right.
But I remember that because it was on Netflix back in the day. That was that time period where Netflix was a completely different beast when it first started. They were like they would when they were first testing out all the streaming stuff before it
Mhm.
became like that's all they do now because they don't even do the TV they don't even do the DVDs anymore. Um, they had uh they had the they had like all these low budget independent films streaming. So you'd watch all these low budget horror films that were streaming on there like, I think Rats was one of them. Another one's like my Chris Seaver films that I used to watch, Quest for the Egg Salad and things like that I would watch on Netflix. And I do remember watching The Rats or Rats or whatever they were
Yeah.
calling it on
Yeah.
that and stuff. They were bad, but they were fun. They were fun
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
So
That's
if I
the
do
stuff.
that, I'll save it for you so you can rewatch it. And
I'm like, that's the stuff my grandma would find and watch and thought it was just the greatest thing. She's so silly. She was so silly.
oh,
But
well, bless your grandmother's heart, and yours. Thank you for so much. Also, Matt, thank you so much once again because, you've been on here a few times now and you're always welcome back. You're one of those people like that, I mentioned this to like a bunch of people. It's like you, Shannon Atkins, Amanda Megan, a bunch of those, a bunch of you guys up there that just absolutely love movies and love reviewing them with me. So I always appreciate that. Um, and everybody else, I want to say thank you guys so much for checking this out. Join me next week where I'll have a movie that Paul will be picking. Don't know what that is yet. Can't say. but I'm sure it will be pretty bad too. So, that's what he loves. So, guess we'll find out for next week. But until then, everybody, hope you guys enjoyed this and have a good one. Bye.